So I would like to share with you a love story that goes back many years. Fast forward. When my 3 children, Jane, John, and Thomas, went to school, I decided now it was my turn to add a new dimension to my life, and I applied to Bank Street. So off I went, zooming down the West Side Highway, tossing my quarter into the toll booth at Spite and Diver without stopping, seeing the ocean liners so lit up, seeing the city so beautifully illuminated. It was really a thrill just getting to 69 Bank Street. After graduation, my first job was as the lead teacher of 4-year-olds at Westchester Ethical in White Plains. The teacher director became the director. And after some time, she came into the room and she very gently took me aside. And then she very quietly whispered in my ear, "Carol, you do not have to give these children a college education in 2 weeks." So there it was. I felt that I both needed and wanted to be a good listener. I wanted to listen far more than I wanted to talk. And from my little orange chair in the block room, I listened, not only to the words that the children said, but to the nuances of their voices. I listened for their concerns. It was an entree into their emotional lives. So I decided I really wanted to cultivate the art of listening. Pure Bank Street. And just the most natural thing in the world after that was observation and recording. At that time, some time ago, I had a big red leather notebook. And in it, I wrote down everything that I heard, saw, felt, and remembered. That notebook was my everything. The words gave me thoughts to help each child grow. And the stories were stories that I could share with the parents about the wonderful or not so wonderful things that they did in school. Pure Bank Street. In 1968, my late husband and I bought a farm in Western Mass. There was an old salt box and 2 small orchards. The place was a mess. There was foundation that needed to be repaired. The front porch had to be removed. And many of the trees in the orchard were 70 feet tall, with poison ivy growing up the trees. And so the pruning, fertilizing, mowing, and the low spray program began. One year we got only 1 apple. That's the truth. And now we bring in about 1,200 bushels. And we also press cider from all the drops or fallen apples and have it at the farm. Part of my plan for the farm was to make it a learning place, particularly for children. And it has become just that. In addition, we sell apples to 5 different schools. We have school groups who come and spend the day with their teacher in the orchard, who have cider underneath the maple tree along with their picnic lunch, and who take bags and bags of apples back to school with them. We have neighborhood children who have grown up pressing cider with us. And last year, we had a 10-year-old who was homeschooled, who was part of the staff. He was one of the crew. He came every day during harvest with his water bottle. He did what had to be done. He learned the work ethic at the farm. And by the end of our harvest time, Isaac was repairing wooden bushel boxes. And he was doing math, waiting on customers in our farm store. Experiential learning, pure Bank Street, all the way. While at nursery school, I learned that trips were the most memorable and pleasurable things that we did in our curriculum. So it was that, along with my firm belief of alums having a greater commitment to Bank Street. And I talked to Fern Kahn about the possibility of bringing back the long trip. And Fern, in that beautiful lilting voice, said, "Oh, Carol, of course we can do that." And so it began. Imagine going into the coal mines of West Virginia and feeling and seeing that dark, damp, dehumanizing conditions in which the miners worked. Or just imagine standing on a hilltop with Larry Gibson, overlooking acres and acres and acres of mountaintop removal. Land that had been in his family for 7 generations and wouldn't be viable for over 1,000 years. And so it was. We became a group of learners, a tightly knit group of learners on each trip. We took back a new vision of the world, and we were more closely connected to Bank Street. And just as my thanks go to Bank Street, I want to thank them for offering the golden opportunity of the experiences we had. A double thanks to Bank Street for all that they have done in the past and all that they will continue to do in the future. I tell the story with love.